Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah. Wallahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Walillahil hamd. Allahu Akbar kabira. Walhamdulillahi kathira. Wa subhanallahi bukratan wa asila. La ilaha illallah. ولا نعبد إلا إياه مخلصين له الدين ولو كره الكافرون اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وعلى أصحاب سيدنا محمد وعلى أزواج سيدنا محمد وعلى ذرية سيدنا محمد وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا الحمد لله تسبح بحمده الأرض ومن عليها والسماء وما فيها أحمده واستعينه واستغفره واستهديه وأؤمن به ولا أكفره وأعادي من يكفره وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله والله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد. So today is day of celebration. And celebrate we must, regardless of whatever condition we find ourselves surrounded by, as individuals, as community, as ummah, as humanity. Because for us, this celebration is linked not with this world, but with our Creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Most people, when they do celebration, they celebrate based on some event, some person, some remembrance of something that has happened, and some day that they designate as a day of celebration. For us, this day of Eid is not linked with any event in this world, but it is linked with the event that was from our Creator, Allah Rabbul Alameen. His revelation of the book to us, and designating the whole month in which this book started to be revealed as the month of fasting. And so the purpose of celebration is to proclaim the greatness of our Lord Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَلِتُكَبِّرُوا اللَّهَ عَلَى مَا هَدَاكُمْ وَلَعَلَّكُمْ تَشْكُرُونَ. So that you can proclaim the greatness of Allah and be thankful and grateful for the hidayah and for the guidance that he has given us. It's a lesson that I was taught by my mother very early in my life, that regardless of the circumstances, regardless of what happens, regardless of the situations and circumstances we or our family may be going through, this is to proclaim the greatness of Allah. This is to be grateful to Allah. And there is no occasion, nothing in this world, no happening, no event that could stop us, prevent us from doing that proclamation to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Eid is to celebrate the mercy of His through which He made us aware of Himself. The mercy of His through which He provided us with guidance. The mercy of His through which He chose messengers from among humans so that they may show them how to live, to fill our lives with meaning and purpose. This is the celebration of joy of coming to know Him. Through that, we also know ourselves, we also know this world, but that is what it is. And so when we reflect on the world around us, and we cannot be disconnected from the world and the circumstances and surroundings that are around us, and the feelings that we are not in control of our lives, the feeling that ummah, no matter where you look, is suffering. Every corner of the world, there is death, there is suffering, there is persecution. There are people being expelled from home, people who are not allowed to practice and do not have those freedoms. And this is constantly increasing, and we find ourselves throughout the world surrounded by those circumstances. But this world is not managed by a chaotic ruler. This world is managed through a planning of Taqdir al-Aziz al-Alim. The one who knows, the one who has power, is the one who plans for it, is the one who is in control of it, is the one who is running it. And neither is history a byproduct of blind actions and forces. History is a product of whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enables, and whatever circumstances and situations through which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decides to take us through as humanity on this earth, as ummah on this earth, as individuals on this earth. That all belongs to his doing. Everything belongs to him. Inna rabbakumullahu allazi khalaqa as-samawati wal arda fi sittati ayyamin summa istawa 'ala al-'arshi yudabbiru al-amr. He is the one who created the heavens and the earth in 6 days, and then he established himself on the throne so that he can manage the affairs of this world. Yudabbiru al-amra min as-sama ila al-ard. He is the one who manages everything from the heavens to the earth. So we cannot ascribe whatever is happening is the powers that are controlling all of that to anyone other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he's managing it with absolute mercy and kindness and fairness and justice. He talks about himself qa'imun bil qist. He does things based on the principles of justice. وَمَا يَعْزُبُ عَنْ رَبِّكَ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ فِي الْأَرْضِ وَلَا فِي السَّمَاءِ. And not even a dot is hidden from him in the heavens or the earth, or even smaller than, and everything is written to him. So no doubt that everything is occurring according to the plans of Allah. Sunnatullah walan tajida li sunnatillahi tabdila. That it is all according to the rules and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has designed for the ummah, for the world, for the universe, that he is the creator and he is the only one who controls these things. But what we do need to understand is that as individuals, regardless of world situations and circumstances, as individuals, we receive both ni'mah and musibah. And it does not depend on our deeds, on our piety, on our belonging to Allah. Good people and bad people both go through, see good times and bad times in their lives. Sickness and health strikes everyone equally, and it does not discriminate between people. And so as individuals, our suffering and whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes us through is a test for us. And it is a test for us through which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala determines who amongst us is grateful to him. And he describes it as a test regardless of the condition, whether you are in good or bad condition. Individually, he describes it as ibtala. فَأَمَّا الْإِنسَانُ إِذَا مَبْتَلَاهُ رَبُّهُ فَأَكْرَمَهُ وَنَعَمَهُ فَيَقُولُ رَبِّي أَكْرَمَنِ وَأَمَّا إِذَا مَبْتَلَاهُ فَقَدَرَ عَلَيْهِ رِزْقَهُ فَيَقُولُ رَبِّي أَهَانَنِ. That when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tests a person by honoring him, by giving him, by doing his favors to him, he says, Allah has been very kind to me, has honored me. When he takes his risk restricted for him and is living difficult, then he says, Rabbi Yahan, Allah has dispossessed me, and Allah is not taking care of me anymore. So that is something that we will go through as individuals in our life regardless. But what we need to understand as communities, as society, as ummah in the world, as part of the humanity to which we belong to in the world, that collective bodies that we all associate with, for them the rules are different. Because on the day of judgment, each one of us will stand before Allah individually. وَكُلُّهُمْ آتِيهِ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ فَرْدًا. Communities will not arrive to answer for their deeds. Uh, People together as collective bodies, as countries, as groups, as organizations, as societies will not come to account for their collective doings. And so in that case, whatever the ummah faces in the world, as a collective body, not as individuals, but as a collective body, whatever ummah faces in the world, our whatever we are facing, we must reflect that it is a result of our doing. Because collective bodies, groups, and ummah receives its suffering or its goodness based on its own conduct in this world, as based on the collective conduct of the ummah in this world. And so for individuals, this world is not Darul Jaza. This world is not where you are rewarded for your good deeds. I mean, that is reserved for us on the day of judgment. Whatever we see in this world is ibtala, whether it's good or bad. It's not a payment for what good we do in this world as individuals. But as ummah, as people together, whatever we are facing as an ummah together in the world, that is a result of the conduct of the ummah. And because communities die, not because it's time for them to die. For individuals, death is written. There is no way you can turn your death around when the time comes. Not even by a moment it can be hastened, or even by a moment it can be delayed. But for groups and communities and organizations and civilizations, they don't die because it's time for them to die. They die because of their wrongdoing. They decline because of their inner conduct. فَكُلًّا أَخَذْنَا بِذَنْبِهِ فَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ أَرْسَلْنَا عَلَيْهِ حَاصِبًا وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ أَخَذَتْهُ الصَّيْحَةُ وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ خَسَفْنَا بِهِ. And so we took every one of them. Some we destroyed by sending wind, some we destroyed by a loud noise, some we destroyed by burying them under the ground. So all of that, those things happen to the society is a result of their conduct. وَتِلْقَ الْقُرَىٰ أَهْلَكْنَاهُمْ لَمَّا ظَلَمُوا. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destroys cities and people based on the zulm that they do. وَمَا كَانَ رَبُّكَ لِيُهْلِكَ الْقُرَىٰ وَأَهْلُهَا مُصْلِحُونَ. It is not possible for Allah to show cities and groups and people's bad times if they are muslihun, if they do good in this world. So in that case, Allah's promise is very clear. Allah's promise is, لَوْ أَنَّ أَهْلَ الْقُرَىٰ آمَنُوا وَاتَّقَوْا. If the people of the cities had believed and had taqwa, had the consciousness of Allah, لَفَتَحْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ بَرَكَاتٍ مِّنَ السَّمَاءِ وَالْأَرْضِ. Allah would have showered upon them His blessings from the heavens and the earth. وَلَكِنْ كَذَّبُوا فَأَخَذْنَاهُمْ بِمَا كَانُوا يَكْسِبُونَ. But they denied that. They didn't follow that conduct. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took them for what they earned. And every messenger came and asked them to turn around from that situation. Because for human beings, death is written, but for us as ummah, as community, death is not written. I mean, we are not supposed to just go away from this world. And there's a process through which we can turn ourselves around. We can turn whatever direction our ummah is going and turn it around to a different direction. And that is the process that every messenger called his people to. فَقُلْتُ اسْتَغْفِرُوا رَبَّكُمْ إِنَّهُ كَانَ غَفَّارًا يُرْسِلِ السَّمَاءَ عَلَيْكُمْ مِدْرَارًا. That every messenger came and said, make istighfar. Istighfar is the process of turning back from your collective conduct in which you find yourself. And if you do that, Allah will raise you back. And Quran gives examples constantly, metaphorically, that don't you see the earth that is barren? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends down the rain and it starts to become alive again and produce vegetation. That is the case with the communities. That is the case with the ummah, that if we turn back, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will turn us around. And so it is our duty to turn our conditions as ummah, as collective bodies around. As individuals, we may be poor or rich, we may be sick or healthy, but as community, we can be healthy. and it is directly proportionally linked with our collective conduct in the world. In the past, whenever the world reached a level of corruption that we find ourselves surrounded by, the history tells us, the Quran tells us, that Prophet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used to send messengers. And messengers would come and invite people and revive them and turn them around, and they will find new life in the world. But but today we believe that there is not going to be any new messenger. And if there is not going to be any new messenger, it's a tenet of our faith that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was the last of the messenger. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala placed the responsibility that belonged to the messenger to each one of us. If there are 3 billion Muslims in the world today, then each one of us 1/3 billionth part supposed to fulfill that responsibility, that duty that belonged to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And so the path to change and the solution to our issues remains the same. Even though no new messenger will come, the only way we can turn these circumstances around is by following the example that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala placed before us through his messengers and through Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And how Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam became a magnet. Thousands of people, all kinds of people, pious and sinner, strong and weak, rich and poor, high status and low status, men and women, young and old, clung to him like magnet, took up his mission, willing to give their lives for it. All of this so that just because of the revelation, but also because of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's highest conduct and character. The Quran testifies to it. وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. You are on the best of the highest of the character. That is the process that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us, that Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has shown us, is the process through which we can win hearts and minds. Win the battles of the world not through material power and force, but win the battles of the world through a moral ground. And history is full of people who had absolutely no material power, but they conquered the world. They conquered the world based on their moral power. And today, even though we accept Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and billions of people every day, morning till evening, send their blessings on him. Today, even as no picture exists of him, but billions want to eat like him, sleep like him, wash themselves like him. That is the status that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And when he received the very first revelation of Iqra bismi rabbika allazi khalaq in one dark night in the month of Ramadan, in the cave of Hira alone, and he stepped down from that cave shivering and went to his companion of life, Ummul Mu'mineen Khadija radiallahu anha, who knew him intimately. And even though he didn't describe what he was feeling, she understood what he was feeling. And she comforted him. She comforted him with these words. Kalla abshir. No, be happy. For wallahi la yukhzika Allah abada. For by God, Allah is never going to dishonor you. Wallahi innaka la tasilu raham wa tasduqul hadith wa tahmal al-kal wa taksab al-ma'dum wa taqra al-dayf wa tu'inu ala nawaib al-haq. By God, you connect the relations. You speak the truth. You bear the burden of those who are unable to bear burden. You provide clothes those who do not have clothes. You honor the guests, and you help people in their rights when their rights are taken away. And so in that is the example that sets. That is the example through which Prophet ﷺ changed the world and turned it around, not in matter of decades, but in a matter of 23 years. The face of the earth changed. It may sound a simple solution, but that is the only solution that we have. Character is about giving, not receiving. Character is not about revenge and gain. Character is not about wishing good for yourself and bad for your enemy. Character is not character is by going about your sense of justice and fairness, and that universal sense of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Character is about kindness, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala testifies to, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not send you into this world except as a mercy to the mankind. That mercy, that connection with the humanity, not anger and revenge and feeling a powerless, in that powerlessness, trying to find ways and means through which you can overcome and revenge. Material power is not the answer. Allah will give us material power as a result of moral power. Moral power is what the world needs today. Moral voice is what is missing from the world today. So we must develop a character that bears that responsibility. And our responsibility must be consistent with the primary purpose that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes. كُنْتُمْ خَيْرَ أُمَّةٍ أُخْرِجَتْ لِلنَّاسِ. You are the best of the ummah, created for the mankind. We are not created to live for our own selves, to look after our own group, but for the whole of the humanity. And unless we adopt that mission, we will not be able to change the world. And Prophet ﷺ receiving revelation from Allah, inviting people to believe on Allah, inviting people to understand their accountability before Allah on the day of judgment, declared at the very early part of his being prophet, he declared, by God, I will not rest until the day comes when a person will travel alone from Sana to Hadramaut, and he will have nothing to fear except maybe a wolf that may harm a sheep. That is the vision that Prophet ﷺ presented when he had absolutely no power, when he was being persecuted from all sides and all corners of this city. The city in which he was born, the city to which he belonged, the family to which he belonged, all of that had turned against him. And he had absolutely no power. And at that point, he said, by God, I will not rest. And he did not. And he changed the world. And he made that world the way he presented it. And he did that through his character. He did that through his connection with his creator, Allah Rabbul Alam. He did that to take the stand, whether it goes against him or someone else. He stood on principles of justice and fairness and kindness and connection with humanity. And that is the only path that we have to turn our circumstances around. And unless we are willing to do that, no matter how many strategies we try to develop, how to deal with the situation and circumstances, that is not going to be of any help to us. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. So Eid Mubarak to everyone.